The day is Christmas Eve. A family is about to head out into the cold, snowy forest to do a long-time tradition. The dad, mom, and their 8-year-old daughter Lucy are so excited to take part in this that they're already almost out the door. But further into the warmth of the wooden cabin, sitting by the fireplace, their 16-year-old daughter Deborah rests comfortably without a care. "Debbie, let's go before it gets too cold out," said the dad. But Deborah doesn't flinch, not even an inch. She keeps her attention on her phone with a clinch. "Debbie, come on, let's go." Deborah rolls her eyes in annoyance and scoffs. "Why do we have to do this every year? Can't you go without me?" The dad responds, "It's part of a long-held tradition. Your grandparents were doing this when they were your age." Under her breath, "I don't care." The dad turns to the mom in defeat. The mom sighs. "Debbie, listen to your father," the mom prompted. "Okay, jeez." Within the cold mountains, deep below the freezing fog, we see the family travel up a snowy hill. The dad leads the way, with the mom just behind, with little Lucy grasping her hand, holding a ceramic bowl in the other. And Deborah, she is far behind, so locked into the world of her phone she's completely oblivious to the cold. The dad, mom, and Lucy reach their destination, the top of the mountain. Deborah appears at their back. The cold mist thins, revealing something ahead. There, past her family, she sees it, an altar. It's strange, but she can't help notice its stone build is untouched by the snow, as if another worldly force keeps it clean. "There she is, kids," said the dad, as they all stepped closer to the spectacle. We're here," Lucy sang. The dad pulls out a thermos from the inside of his jacket. "Okay, put the bowl on the altar, honey," said the dad. Lucy does just that. The dad opens the thermos and pours out warm porridge into the bowl. Deborah watches in disbelief. "This is stupid." "Debbie," scowled the mom. Lucy skips toward Deborah. "It's not stupid, Deb. We're giving thanks to the ancient elf." "Ancient, honey," the dad informed little Lucy, who comes running back, looking fondly at the bowl of porridge. "Do you think the elf will really eat this?" asked Lucy. "Well, every time the porridge is always gone, right?" Her face is glowing with bewilderment. "Because an animal ate it?" Deborah muttered, the wind carrying it along to the whole family. "What?" Lucy cried out. "Deborah!" the mom growled, then turns her attention to Lucy. No, don't listen to your sister, honey." Deborah shakes her head. "I'm just telling her the truth." "That's enough!" the dad shouted. The mom and dad huddles around Lucy, trying to comfort her. Deborah watches, almost disgusted. "Okay, let's go back to the cabin and have hot chocolate," said the mom. Lucy celebrates with a yay. The family start heading back, but Deborah stays behind. She slowly kneels to the snow, then grabs a handful of snow, molding it into a snowball. Her eyes narrow, focus. She stands up and tosses the ball at the bowl of porridge, knocking it off the altar. Much later, inside the peaceful house, the family lies fast asleep. Downstairs, an old grandfather clock stands at the end of the hallway. The hand clicks into place. 12 midnight. Outside, something ancient stirs. The wind picks up, growing harsh. The forest sways violently, branches groaning as if the mountain itself angered. In Lucy's room, she sleeps soundly beneath her blanket, clutching a plush white rabbit. To her left, the bedroom window rattles as the wind batters the thin glass. The noise intensifies, growing so loud it jolts little Lucy awake. She sits up, frightened, rubbing her eyes as she pulls her little furry companion close. She looks toward the window. The glass trembles with each violent gust. Her eyes widen as fear swells inside her. The pain looks as though it might shatter at any moment. Then, a shadow streaks past the glass, followed by a low, sorrowful cry. Lucy gasps. Meanwhile, across the hall, Deborah sleeps with her earbuds in, oblivious to the storm tearing at the cabin. Her door slowly swings open. Something lingers in the doorway, watching, waiting. White fur slams into her face. What the hell? Deborah shoves it away, sees Lucy standing beside her bed, clutching her plush white rabbit like a weapon. Deborah yanks the earbuds from her ears. The roar of the storm floods in. I saw something out the window, Lucy says, frightened. Deborah groans, rolling her eyes as she drops back onto her pillow. It's nothing, just the storm. Lucy hesitates. Can I sleep with you? No, Deborah responds. Go annoy Mom and Dad. Lucy's shoulders sink. A moment passes. Deborah feels eyes on her. She looks up and sees Lucy still standing there, staring. Why are you still here? I saw something outside, Lucy says, tightening her grip on her rabbit. I want water first. Then, like a broken record, water, 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 water. Okay, jeez. Deborah snaps. Deborah plods down the stairs, her hand sliding along the smooth grain of the railing. When she reaches the bottom, she stops, exhausted, arms slumping at her sides. Lucy darts into the kitchen, the rabbit's legs flopping as she runs. Deborah follows, then pauses to look out the window into the raging storm. After a moment, she hears it. Lucy's voice, calm, flat. Do you want to die? A cold shiver shoots down Deborah's spine. She turns sharply. Lucy stands there, holding a glass of water. What did you say? Do you want to try? Lucy asks, lifting the glass towards her. Deborah exhales, relieved, shaking her head. Let's get back to bed. She takes Lucy's hand and leads her toward the stairs. When a sharp pain tears through her hand, Deborah yanks her hand back. She looks down at Lucy. Did you just bite me? Lucy stares at her, confused. I didn't do it. 2 small puncture marks bleed in Deborah's skin. You little rugrat, I didn't do it. Deborah grabs Lucy by the wrist and pulls her toward the stairs. Later, the two sit on Lucy's bed. Deborah scrolls through her phone while Lucy plays with her rabbit. Stuffed animals line the room, perched on shelves, chairs, the floor, watching from every angle. Downstairs, the grandfather clock ticks, tocks. Then the hour hand clicks into place, 1 a.m. Beneath the storm, Deborah and Lucy hear it, just. They look at each other. Deborah's gaze drifts to the rabbit. Blood stains its plush teeth. Her eyes flick to the bite mark on her hand. A cold realization crawls over her. Was it the rabbit? She looks up. Lucy is gone. In her place, the rabbit sits upright on the bed, facing Deborah. Blood drips slowly from its mouth. The room darkens. The sound of Christmas bells jingle beyond the rabbit, getting Deborah's attention. Lucy stands in the shadows by the wall. Lucy? She doesn't respond, just stands there completely still. Her body hunches, arms becoming crooked, unnerving. She looks up, eyes glowing a sickly green. This is not Lucy. The figure in the shadows jingles the bells. The noise comes from the sides of the room. Left. Right. Deborah is frozen as the sound gets closer. The figure and the sound vanish. It's quiet for a moment, until the floorboards at the wall creak, getting closer. Deborah jolts upright in her bed, gasping for air. It was a dream. Just a dream. Too agitated to fall back to sleep, she crawls out of bed and leaves her room to inspect. Nothing, so she moves to the staircase, reaching the midway point. She leans over the railing, peering downstairs, then waits for anything. But nothing happens. She leans back and shakes her head, bewildered and dumbfounded. A soft movement catches Deborah's eye. At the top of the stairs, just inside her peripheral vision, a small shape stands perfectly still. She looks. A snowball bursts through the cold air toward her, hits her in the face like an icy slap. She clears the snow from her face, and when looking again, it's Lucy. Lucy! What the hell? Lucy retreats to the hallway, laughing. Deborah clenches her fists and steps forward to follow. She freezes at a clack from the living room. She peers into the dark, then turns back upstairs. Snow still clings to her face. She wipes it away, frowning, and heads downstairs through the kitchen toward the sound, where she halts. An overturned bowl lies before the Christmas tree, its contents spilled across the floor. Thick porridge, already cooling, clings to the wood like paste. For a fleeting moment she wonders, Lucy? No. With a sigh, she trudges forward and lifts the bowl. Inside, a message is smeared in blood. Do you remember? Her eyes flick back and forth, her brow tightening as if trying to force the moment to make sense. Suddenly, her back glows yellow, heating as a beaming light spreads from the kitchen into the living room. She turns, covers her sight with her palm for a moment. The scene clears, revealing her parents in the kitchen, standing near the window with sunlight pouring in. Mom? Dad? But they're oblivious to her. The dad rests against the counter, runs his fingers through his beard with intent. What are we gonna do? She asks. I'll work overtime, he replies, taking the cup. Don't worry, we'll give Deborah a wonderful Christmas. Her mom smiles. The color drains from the room, from the walls, from the table, from them. Fine cracks spread across her parents' skin. Their bodies stiffen, then collapse inward, breaking apart into heavy, melting snow that hits the wooden floor. Deborah doesn't move as she tries to gather the pieces. Below her, something shines bright. Light shimmers off of her lower arm, catching her eye. She turns at the sound of tearing paper. A little girl sits on the floor unwrapping a present. Lucy? No. Deborah's breath becomes short as the little girl raises the present up, inspecting it. She reaches out to touch her, but stops when noticing her parents behind her younger self smiling, hopeful. The girl frowns, tosses the present aside. I don't like it. I wanted the other one. Her parents' smiles fade. Once again, the color drains away. The room dissolves. Snow falls until there is nothing left. Deborah steps back, her breath shaking. Her heel hits the bowl. She looks down and notices the message has changed. Time is almost up. As Deborah stands frozen, perplexed, in the adjoining hallway, the grandfather clock keeps ticking. The big hand reaches 2 a.m. Bashing at the front door vibrates the house. Shock jolts Deborah's being. She heads for the front door, peeps through the peephole once again. Snow has risen to halfway over our sight. The peephole almost buried, as is half the house. Scraping and pattering is heard outside, traveling up the side of the house. Deborah's eyes follow the noise as it reaches the roof. It stops. Deborah bolts for the stairs, scrambling upward. Once at the top, she heads straight for Lucy's room. She bursts in, sees Lucy in bed, sleeping, or so it would seem. Lucy lays, corpse-like, staring at the ceiling. Deborah gropes the sides of her arms firmly. Lucy! Lucy! Lucy turns to her, but doesn't say a word. Deborah loosens her grip on Lucy's shoulders. Her eyes scan over her little sister. Deborah tries to speak, but almost can't. Let's go. Deborah pulls Lucy out of bed, and as they enter the hallway, Deborah looks at Lucy. Her eyes blank and her fingers hang loose in her grip. Deborah's forehead crinkles with worry. At the bottom of the staircase, Deborah and Lucy step onto ground floor. The air thinner, colder, and now it's dead silent. The storm is gone. They hesitantly move through the kitchen and into the living room. It's almost pitch black, but Deborah can almost make out something ahead in the Christmas tree. A hand? But before she can clearly make it out, a light rustle alerts her to the hallway. She softly pushes Lucy behind herself toward an unlit fireplace. In her peripheral, she sees a fire iron leaning up against the brickwork of the fireplace. She grabs it, then holds it out firmly in front of herself, waits for something to happen. Then, "You hate me, don't you?" Lucy asks. Deborah glances back, befuddled. "What? You hate me?" Deborah swings around and kneels before Lucy. "I don't." "You hate me." Lucy keeps repeating it over and over. Deborah shuts her eyes tight, holds her hand up to her forehead. I don't. Then she explodes. "Shut up!" Lucy stops, smiles. "I love you, Debbie." Deborah falls back, her heart racing. The elf wraps its tiny claws around Lucy, who doesn't even react, then pulls her up into the darkness, up the chimney. Deborah lunges for the fireplace and looks up. "Lucy!" she shouts, but Lucy is gone. Deborah stands and walks a few steps back. The Christmas tree lights up red, casting a bright crimson glow across the room. Something flashes at the edge of her vision. Deborah turns toward the tree. Her eyes drift upward. A hand, slick with blood, juts from a lower branch. Then another on the opposite side. Higher still, legs protrude between the branches, twisted like broken limbs. She stops, almost unable to look any further, but she forces herself to. At the very top of the tree, her eyes widen in horror, disbelief freezing her in place. Her beat passes, then she finally screams. At the top of the tree, two heads stacked on top of each other. Long hair of the bottom one drapes down onto the tree with blood soaking it, forming a hard crust that almost blends it into the tree. More blood drips through the branches, pattering softly onto the wooden floor. Later, a pale white Deborah walks the dark hallway. She heads for the front door and tries to open it, but the snow piled on the other side makes it almost impossible. Almost. She looks down at the fire iron still clutched in her hands, lifts it. With a sudden burst of energy, she thrusts it into the wood again and again. The wood finally gives. Later, Deborah stands in the middle of a frozen opening. Trees loom in the distance, but beyond them there's nothing, just a white void swallowing the world whole. She stumbles forward, boots sinking deep into the snow, fighting for every step. Behind her, the house groans, but something else is there. Perched atop the roof, a dark figure hunches low, motionless, like a gargoyle carved from shadow. Deborah's lips trembles. She takes a step back, slips and falls hard into the snow, but her eyes never leave the figure above. The dark figure moves. It leaps, dives into the snow below as if it were water. Smash! The snow erupts, swallowing it whole. Silence follows. Then the surface just ahead of Deborah shifts. The snow bulges and parts as something moves beneath it. Fast, deliberate, 3 jagged shapes slice through the white like a dorsal fin, breaking the ocean's surface. One long spike flanked by 2 smaller ones, cutting a clean path straight toward her. Deborah scrambles backward, breath tearing from her chest. The fins vanish. The snow settles. Deborah stops, becoming still. Her eyes dart across the newly flat plain, her ears straining for any movement. The ground beneath her hand explodes upward. A long, twisted finger pierces her palm, rupturing out the other side. Deborah screams, blood blooming red against the white snow. The finger rips back beneath the surface. Deborah begins to crawl away, desperately trying to escape. Just behind her, the shape erupts fully now. The elf lunges from the snow, twisted grey, eyes glowing a sickly green of sorrow rather than rage. Its mouth opens in a silent wail as it claws toward her. The elf leaps onto Deborah, biting and clawing at her flesh. Speckles of blood dot the untouched white snow. Deborah cries out in pain, begging for mercy. "Stop! Stop! Please stop! I'm sorry!" The elf jumps back onto the ground. It turns toward Deborah and raises its hands, claws dripping with her blood. Deborah clutches her bleeding hand to her chest, then drops to the snow, preparing for what's to come. "They loved me," she says, voice breaking. "They always did. I treated them like nothing. Like decorations. Like they didn't matter." She looks up at the creature. "Please give them back." She closes her eyes, starts to cry. After a moment, nothing happens. She opens her eyes back up, sees the elf just standing there, watching her. Tears of the elf crystallize, then fades away. The elf's form starts to shift, its small, broken body straightening. The pain etched into its face easing. White fur replaces grey skin. The claws retract. Before her now stands Santa Claus. Not jolly, not smiling, but solemn, knowing. He looks down at Deborah. "Some lessons," he says quietly, "must be felt before they are understood." He turns back toward the house. A sudden gust of wind whips through the clearing, stinging Deborah's eyes. She blinks. The storm lifts. When she looks again, he is gone. Only falling snow remains. Morning light filters through the trees. Deborah stands outside the cabin, exhausted, changed. Beside her, Lucy grips her hand tightly. Deborah smiles warmly, kneels down hugging her little sister. She glances back toward the cabin and sees her parents watching over them. A tear falls from her eyes. She couldn't be any happier. The end.